Thank you. Thank you for all. This talk is only a small part of a bigger series handled with complexity in huge projects, which build on different technologies. And today, my talk should go about Django and micro-Django. And before I start, I want to say thank you for my family who support me. I want to say thank you to my wife Elena. I want to say thank you to our children, Maya, Mark, and I want to say thank you to my animals, Kisa and Marcel. And also I want to say thank you to my daughter Maya. She created all illustration for all my presentations, and thank you, Maya. Who I am? My name is Maxim Danilov. I work in commercial software development more than 27 years. And it was different languages. Last 9 years, I worked with Python, with Django, and last 6 years, I worked with different front-end reactive frameworks. And all links to slides from different conferences you can find on Bitbucket. On the end of the presentation, you can find a QR code to link to slides. Right now, we go to our topic, micro-Django or Django micro-framework. What is it? The important idea which lays in these words, micro-Django, this is a single PI file project. Single. And how it can see in a folder? It can be organized files like a gitignore, like Docker file, like README. And for example, you can see test there, but test should not be there. It should be in other folder. And in this case, we have only one min.py file. But this file should allow us to have full Django functionality, because we built this project on Django. It should be possible to use different all binaries from Django. It should be runnable standalone, runnable in monolith. It's important. It means microservices can be work standalone, but able microservices to work in monolith? Interesting question. In my case, it's able also to use in monolith structure, and it should be testable. The story of refining this theory started with Django itself, but the first step they did Julia Ellman, Mark Levin in book Lightweight Django. It was the first time this technology presented. After that, I met this technology in prototype, which was provided for me for my project WinePad. This is a business data lake about alcohol, about wines. And Armin Wolf and Florian Enmoser, they provide me the project also with reduced quantity of files and folders. They simplify standard Django project. The next step I find in repository from Kirill Klinov. He used this technology in benchmarks. Django, if he wants to test Django, he uses Django lightweight Django technology to compare this framework with other frameworks. The next step is, it was already a little bit famous step, because in Django community it was discussed since 2019 how we can create a single PI file project, build it on Django. I can imagine they simply pass the lightweight Django book, but they create like the same idea which was in lightweight Django, and a little bit improve this idea, because Django not stay on the one place. Django have some extend itself, and that's why came some changes. The last step, which will done, did Paolo Melchiorre from Django. He offered the name µDjango. I like this name, and he also ran this project like async await paradigm. Okay, let's go. How it works? We can create standard project with command Django admin start project µDjango. I don't like this idea from standard Django because we have here words which goes against dry principle. Don't repeat yourself. We have folder Django, and in folder Django we have folder µDjango, and in folder µDjango we have again folder µDjango. It's something wrong. My suggestion for you, we can create with only one command project, and we can rename the root folder. And in this case, we have the project folder µDjango, and one folder with configs. There I can save all different configs and settings for my project. Okay, but this is still normal Django project. And if I do next step, I create the app in this project. We have the new folder in root folder, and in this folder we have 1,000, okay, not 1,000, I know, 8 files, 8 PI files. I don't know why we need it. Okay, file models we need for work with object from database. For example, apps, but why apps? Why not settings? And is completely forgotten technique about app config. It's powerful thing, but nobody use it. Probably me. I don't know. Also question, why admin is not plural? I cannot answer. And why migration created right now and not before I start to migrate create the schema for database? Many questions. I don't have answers. Nobody have answers. As is. Use it. And accordingly, µDjango paradigm, what we should to do? We should throw away all files from folders which we don't need and copy it all in root folder. What we have? We have ASGI, WSGI interfaces, we have URLs, we have tests, settings, models, and manage PI like a start endpoint. Copy all in root, delete empty folder, remove unnecessary files, delete migration. After that, next step, we can squash manage PI, ASGI, and WSGI interfaces. I simply copy the 2 strings from ASGI and WSGI in manage PI. Important thing and important idea in µDjango, all what you do in start entry point in this file, all should be lazy. In reality, all what you do in Python should be lazy, but nobody do it. I offer only for you to use lazy technique. What it means? It means if I run, if I call WSGI, like if I want to create instance will be created not right now, only on the first call. Okay. This is the idea. I squash the 3 files in 1 file, but it's not enough. We have many files there. And right now we can see how it works with models. Models file we don't need. We can declare somewhere in project model, our model, and this model will be registered in apps registry from Django on import. On the first call of this file, there our model is declared. In this case, which file is calls always on start? URLs PI. Okay, we can put models in URL PI, and model will be registered in Django app registry. In this case, I squash models and URLs PI. It works, all examples which you see there is in the repository from this talk. You can did all steps one after other and check I'm liar or not. And, and last frontier, URLs PI. We have URLs PI on the previous screen, and right now we should invent something how we can move URLs PI in mine PI. I rename manage PI in my PI only because I like this name. Okay, I simply copy from URLs PI in my PI my files, and you can see there again my my love for lazy objects. Any URL patterns I again wrap in lazy calculation art, and URL patterns will be calculated, list of all URLs will be calculated only, only if settings.py, only after our server starts. Okay, in this case we have three files, test, settings, mine.py. How it works? It works. Okay, right now I run the admin panel, and you can see on the left side something is wrong. What I forget? In this case, simply I forget to add on the dev stage, I forget to add static files. Of course, below you can see, please don't forget to add static files in URL to work correctly with CSS and so on. It's really interesting. Try to switch off static files for your project, switch off CSS, and try to see how it's ugly, how it seems ugly for user if one CSS file not comes. You can test it on Django, on raw Django. It seems not too pretty. But don't matter, we go further in model Django, in micro Django. Okay, data serialization. For example, I have one idea. We have database. I want to take elements from database, serialize it, and send it to customer. I use Django serializer framework. Django serializer framework was previously, then appears Django REST framework, and Django serializer framework works faster. I offer you try to use it, and in this case, I use this serializer. I convert it in JSON, and I use also generic class-based views to send my send my JSON to customer. It works, you can run it, and you can see the framework. In this case, I serialize model. I want to serialize object from table users from standard Django. But somebody can tell me, Max, no, this is all synchron. And how it goes with async await? I don't see any problem with async await. Django is completely not ready to work with async await paradigm. Right now, this example from Django 5.0.1 or 0.2, but it's still Django is still not ready to work with async generic class-based views, and I should override all if I want to work with async await paradigm. This is example how I can override it. This is async class. I use async await. This is I still want to serialize users. Also, I can set up there which fields should be serialized. I remove all fields. I get only a username and email. Here I use also one special technique. In this example, this is the whole file mine.py. I don't have any more in this file. This is whole file. and I can run it, and it works. How it works? Because I use here some special technique. I've wrapped this class, async class, in with decorator, which create URL patterns with URL to this view. This is some trick, but this trick it makes our Django seems a little bit like a Flasky or like a fast API, like a lighter star. Path decorator before view. It works. It still works, and it still works. You can check it. And right now, what about tests, Max? Do you tell me about this technology? But what about tests? Test file is the same test file as before. I use the also, this is example how I can test async views in Django, and I provide you the command line for a command line interface, and it works in asynchronous mode. Thank you for Django developers. It's works perfectly with async functions. And you can see I work always with classes. I don't like function-based views. Okay, next step. Some words about settings. You can say me what settings should be placed in my project. In reality, no. You don't need to have settings in Django project. Why? Because for test stage, you need test settings. For production, you need production settings. For development, you need development settings. In this case, you can, of course, you can collect all settings in one project. But in reality, if you have the many developers, your developers should not need to see what happens in production settings. They should have only dev stage or test stage settings. In this case, settings we put usually in other folder, and after that we can start our project with different settings. Django offers us to do it in different manners. For example, different arts. For example, we can put path to settings in environment. We can add path to settings with attributes like below. And in this case, mine.py, this is a folder with important project. Test.py lays in test folder, and settings lays somewhere. I don't need to know about it because I need settings only for development. And how I run it. This is common how I can run my Django project if settings lays somewhere completely on the other folder, other hard drive, or on USB stick. Don't matter. It runs, and you can use it. Next step. How I can use this technology like a monolith. I have the root folder, and in the root folder I have the folder first service. In this folder I have one file with first service, which can be started like a standalone microservice. But after I have second service in next folder. And after that, I have the collector, which I create on the left side of this slide. This collector goes through whole folders, collect all mine.py from whole folders, and takes all URLs from these services. And in this case, if I run the root mine.py, I run multiple services and it will be run it like one monolith, if I want. But sometimes I don't want to do it. And in this case, I can use a Docker container. There I can pack only one service, or probably I can pack in Docker container 2 services from 400 services, or 3 services. It depends on you, what exactly you want to pack in Docker container, and it can be run at standalone. And also, I provide you there techniques how I can run Docker container with different settings, with test settings, with dev settings, production settings. And if you don't know, Docker offers us the new syntaxes to run Docker Compose. Please, if you don't use the new syntaxes of Docker Compose, in this case, as simply Docker Compose up. Previously, it was Docker minus Compose up. Okay. The second version is more logical for me, and in this case, please take information about how Docker offers you to work with new paradigm. Okay, we have folder settings, we have end there, we have settings there, and we have main.py file, only my main.py file in one folder, and Docker file. And probably somebody from you see the one problem. I never show file requirements.txt there, or I never show there PyProject toml file, right? This is my other idea. I don't use anymore requirements file because all requirements written in Docker file. And for local development, I install, if I don't want to run Docker, I install dependencies from Docker file. And it means for me, Docker file is one source of truth for my requirements. Probably this all, and logical question, Max, why you offer to use it? Because if we have architecture like a separate safe and read separated services, for example, we write to database with one service, and we read from database with other service. In this case, this works perfectly. If, for example, our read microservice is broken, we still can write in database, and we can independently restart the read server or other case. Also, we have some ideology which names modular monolith architecture. Modular monolith architecture, this is interesting architecture. I cover it in my other talk, but you can find it in internet. You can find the perfectly articles about it. It was published in 2019 and perfectly cleared why modular monolith probably is solution for your problem with monolith, which seems like a mess, probably. Okay. Also, we have a messy monolith, which we try to deal with them, and for some APIs we can remove APIs in microservices and run it in container or separately. It depends on you. And thank you. And also on async-oriented Django projects, if you use it, probably µDjango offers you the best way to run, to create, to test, and to run your async services. And What I don't cover in my talk right now. Thank you. Migrations. About migrations, especially on this screen on the right side, in this case we have big monolith which use migrations in different arts, and microservices only reuse models from core service, and for microservices we don't need to do migrations because it's not a responsibility from our microservice. But it's still usable, and sorry, for this case, we should create folder migration, and we should create different migrations, because I don't want to overwrite the whole part of Django which create migrations for us. Second, how we can follow dry principle in our microservice projects, patterns and principles, how it possible? Probably it's possible, not in our universe, but I try to give some suggestion how it goes, probably in my next talk, or you can find my talk on the Django Letland, on the PyCon Letland 3 weeks ago. I also cover this theme. Okay, repository organizing. We have collected, in my company, some ideas how repositories should be organized and how we use templating in our repository to create microservices. Easy organizing is not real, but it's possible. Okay, and in reality, we have 412 microservices right now, and how to deal with that without headache? Probably it's possible. If somebody knows the answer, please tell me. And of course, I completely don't cover deployment practices. How we can deal with this bunch of microfolders, how it works with installation and so on. But it's easy, fast, furious, and yeah, probably I lie, but yeah, it works. It works. I offer you to make microservices, not war. All example you can get by this QR code. And right now I am open for any of your questions about these techniques. I'm ready. Thank you.
Thank you for the great talk. Maybe you can answer us a few questions. One of them is, what about other Python web frameworks like FastAPI, Black Sheep, and Starlight? They already don't have so much files as Django have.
Exactly. On my previous talk in PyCon Letland or in Bratislava, I show examples how I use Django views with Starlight, how I use Django with Robin framework, and how I use Django with FastAPI. I use from FastAPI URL routing and possibility to work with sockets, WebSockets, and from Django I take Django classes. And in this case, I mix Django and FastAPI. But if you speak about simply one file, in this case, right now, I offer you possibility also to use Django with one file. The same quantity of lines.
Next question, how do you actually install the requirements from a Docker file?
Sorry, one script which takes pip installs lines from Docker file, and it runs on computer. One script. In this case, I use Fabric command line extension.
Okay. Last question we can do here is, how do you use and configure things like linters without PyProject TOML?
Good questions. Right now, for every project, I have settings for VS Code. But are you right? The question is completely correct. Without PyProject TOML, settings for linters should be provided.
So thank you for the great talk. I will put the other 2 questions into the Discord. You can answer them there.
Yeah, I can answer also. Or we don't have to.
We don't have time.
Sorry.